Hello. Thank you for the opportunity to read your toes. I love the flowers on your big toenails, by the way. Very, very cute. All right, so just a little bit about toe reading. Each of the toes represents an energy. So on the left foot, it's the big toe is your spirit path toe, and on the right foot, it's your life path toe. Your second toe on both feet is communication. Third is action. Fourth is relationship. And fifth is trust and prosperity. And then the left foot represents your internal self, the way that you connect with source and the way that you are with yourself. And then on the right foot, this is external. This is how people experience you and how you move through this world. So, one of the first things that I noticed when I was looking at your toes is that you are a leader. You've got a nice, wide open leadership channel here, and you are on your right path. You were, for a while, it was time to change life paths, but you are now on your life path. And here's how I read that. First of all, you've got a nice sized toenail in relation to the rest of the toes. And this toenail is straight. It is straightforward. You are grounded. You are on the right path. Now you do have a little bit. So um, when you're walking, you lean a little bit on this side. So this is a little bit, you can see how it looks like the toe is leaning that way just a little bit if you weren't looking at the toenail. And so changes start in the nail, both for indicating an out of alignment and for getting back in alignment. So congratulations, well done. Keep doing what you're doing. You are on the right life path, confirmed. Now, your spirit path toe is similar in the way that it looks. You've got the nail that's moving forward here. It's nice and straight, but it does turn just a little bit more to the past. And then this toe comes in, and you can just see for contrast how this toe comes in and touches this other toe right here, leaving this part open. This is your channel of intuition. And so to increase your intuition and fully claim the intuitive gifts that are yours in this lifetime, I really recommend stabilizing right here. So holding with your right hand along this part of the toe, and with your left fingers just moving up and inviting that toe to track just a little bit more straight and to create just a little bit more space between the first and second toe. And that's going to open that up. Generally good. So what you're doing spiritually, you're on the right path. Maybe just a couple of little tweaks here, specifically as it has to do with your personal practice. Next, we're going to look here at these communication and expression toes. So you are absolutely a communicator. We see this because the second toe is almost as long, or maybe as long as the first toe. So it is longer. It doesn't taper down. And so you are definitely a communicator and an expressor. And you're honest with yourself. Like, you have good internal dialogue with yourself and in the way that you express. Now, when you're expressing to others, where do you feel? Also, same thing. Let me back up. Same thing, like, you're doing a great job communicating and expressing, and there's just a little bit of an energy where perhaps you feel like you're going and you get stuck a little bit, or there's some things you're holding back on just a little bit. It's not too much, but you can just see the difference between the two toes, where this one is straightforward and sits, and this is, again, your internal self, and this one comes out, it's a little bit curved, and the toenail is pointing a little bit more downward. So in what areas of your life do you feel like you can't fully express yourself or communicate? What are some things that you want to communicate that you're not communicating? And that could be for a variety of reasons, including that you just don't know how yet. And that's totally fine. Just being aware of that so that you're not blocking yourself or holding yourself back in any way in this energy. Next, let's look at your action toes. These action toes are very interesting to me. So first of all, you are absolutely an action taker. Like, you see it and you go for it. I love that about you. Action takers are just people that I love having in my circles. And so you'll just go right after it. You've got these nice, straight, long third toes. They're almost as long as your communication toes. So you definitely go and take action. You especially take action when it comes to somebody wanting, like if you're teaching a class, or you've got a client, or your friend's waiting for you at the gym, or these kinds of things where you've got somebody else, like I call it a capability partner, because it just helps you stay in that space of capability and not let yourself get off the hook for action that you want to take. You are a person of your word. You do what you say and you say what you mean. I love that. You've also recently released some energy in this toe. And so just looking back on your journey over, say, the last 6 months to a year, in what ways have you really taken action that perhaps before you weren't doing, and just seeing what that looks like so that it can be repeated? Now let's talk about the action for self toe. You can see that this is where there is quite a contrast. So do you ever not follow through on commitments for yourself? You're definitely an action taker, but are there times when you say to yourself you'll do something, but then you don't follow through? Just consider how that is for you, because what I'm seeing here is a separation of what you say and what you do within yourself. So what I'm going to recommend for this toe is stabilizing over here with your right hand, and then gently massaging up, and just inviting this toe to sit more cozy with this second toe, and just align a little bit more straight. Now, we don't want any crossing over or like having it be so tight that it's stifling, but we definitely want some of this energy that's been created in this second half of your life, where perhaps you haven't honored yourself in the same way that you've honored your commitments to other people. Let's look at these relationship toes. When you think about your life and the different areas of your life, on a scale from 1 to 10, where do you feel in your relationships, both your relationship with self and your relationship with others? Where would you rate that on that scale from 1 to 10? How are your relationships? How do you show up for yourself and show up for others? Do you feel like you can fully express in your relationships? Are you appreciated in your relationships? And this is all relationships, including the relationship with yourself. So these are some questions to just analyze. This toe is, it's a healthy toe. And this is an area where there's definitely some blocked energy. So this can be releasing patterns from the past, both past in this life, generational, and from past lives, and improve. This area can be, you are capable of experiencing deep and more fulfilling relationships. We're going to jump over here to your astrology chart. And just a couple of fun things. So first of all, I'm first seeing all this Aries energy, all this fire energy, and then your Mars here in Sagittarius. So a lot of fire. This is your fire toe. That action toe is your fire toe. So making sure that you're taking action for yourself, but also know that you are living according to the star map. The map of the stars is like the map of our life. and your toes tell you where you are on that map. Because if you are in Colorado and you want to get to California, you can map that out. But if you know you want to get to California and you're not sure where you're starting from, you don't really know how to get there. So the toes tell you where you are. So continue to take action, including for yourself. This is vital. Also, having more fun, making sure that you are having fun in your life is really going to be a way that feels very nurturing to you, and that helps you shine brighter when you are taking action in a way of having fun. Being creative. What kind of creative pursuits do you like? And sometimes when we think of creativity, we might think of music and art, and that is definitely creative. So consider that. And also, we can be very creative in our businesses. We can be very creative in our relationships. We can be very creative in the way that we decorate our homes. So there's these different ways of being creative, and that is a very important way for you to take action, is in being creative. And then we look at your Venus here. Venus rules these relationship toes. Venus in Aries, this is like, you're kind of a no nonsense, but you're also very passionate in your relationships. So how is that working for you? And do you have people with whom you are in a relationship in your life that this is how it feels good to have this passion? And this is romantic partnership, business partnership, friendships, like where you're taking action, you're doing things together, and you're engaged in passionate activities that fill your souls. And it can be very fiery, it can be very direct. It's not everybody's cup of tea. And so just realizing that you probably show love by acts of service, and that is awesome. And some more on this relationship toe. If you ever felt shame about the way that you show up in relationships, it's time to release that. All right, last we're going to move on to these fifth toes, these trust and prosperity toes. So I can see quite a bit of blocked energy in those toes. So first of all, let's look at the prosperity part of things. So a couple of things with prosperity. Your part of fortune is here in the 7th house, and it's in the sign of Gemini. So an intellectual, your fortune, and remember, there's a lot of definitions of fortune. So consider, what does fortune look like to you? Health, relationships, money, opportunities. Like, there's a variety of ways that fortune can look like to you. So just be aware of what fortune looks like to you, and realize that you're going to receive this fortune through partnership, communication, intellect. That is how this is going to happen. So having partnerships with people with whom you can have an intellectual relationship is a point of passion for you. You want to be taking action in your intellectual pursuits. Now, I know you do that with and for others. Do you do it for yourself? Do you have a time set aside every day for you to just learn, for you to maybe journal or some other kind of communication? That would be very important for you. You are meant to be in the spotlight. You've got, your midheaven here in Leo, and you've got all this 11th house. So hopes, dreams, collective humanity. Just looking at how that looks for you. And then the challenge of that is, we know you can show up for others, making sure you also show up for yourself. And that's going to really allow you, as you do the self-transformation work, allow you to be the transformational leader that you're here to be. Absolutely here to be that transformational leader. So in your prosperity, let's release ideas about where prosperity comes from for you from the past, and identify where does prosperity come from and where does it connect in your body. Realizing that your prosperity comes from taking action and using your mind. That's where your prosperity comes from. And then when it comes to trust, perhaps you've trusted people that you actually should not have trusted. Or maybe this has to do with trust for self. Can you trust yourself to keep your commitments to yourself? I challenge you and invite you. That seems to be the theme of this reading. So let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know how I can serve you. And top recommendations are release any energy in the way that you're communicating with the outside world. Continue to take action and focus on taking action for yourself. Identify what prosperity looks like to you and know that it comes from your action and your intellect. And identify your friends and your allies. Your allies are always your friends, although it might look like not our typical friendship, but your friends are not always your allies. Allies have your back. Allies want you to succeed. Allies would be absolutely thrilled for you as you make progress and hold space for you as you move through this soul evolution. Friends don't always do that. Friends can show up in different ways. So identifying who are your friends and your allies. Please reach out if you have any questions at all. Thank you.